everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Lucy from Lucy's Library and Pre-Love Pages. Today I thought it would be really fun to set out my June TBR. We're at the beginning of the new month and I need to know what books I need to read. So I'm going to do that with the help of my TBR jar. So this is a TBR jar which has 54 different prompts inside. They're available on my website. So I'm going to use this and pick some books for me to read. So normally I am a little bit of a mood reader. I find it difficult to stick to a strict TBR. It makes me fall a bit into reading as a chore rather than what I love doing, just because sometimes I feel there's a bit of pressure. So I'm going to pick either one or two books for each prompt. Where I'll only read one, but it just means that I have a couple of options. I like to view my TBR as more of a menu, where I just see what I fancy, like when I'm there to see what to read next, rather than a strict, I must read this, then I read this. So I'm actually currently just nearly finished, got about a third of it left, of Assistant to the Villain. I'm really enjoying this. So finishing this is the first thing I'm going to do in June. So this will be the first book completed in June, but that's because I've started it already. This was not picked out of the jar. Okay, so this is the jar. It's very cute. I'm going to open it and pick my first prompt. Okay. Ooh, okay. So a book with an animal on the cover. That's exciting. Let's have a look. Okay, so I've shopped my shelves in the back a little bit and I found two books that have animals on the cover that I might read. They're very different, so that's good for me being a mood reader because I can pick which one aligns with my reading preferences in that time. So the first one is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This has been on my bookshelf probably for about 4 or 5 months. A relatively newer addition to the shelf. Some of them have been there for, I think, 9 years, which is a bit... I need to read it or unhaul it, really. But this one's a relatively new one, so I'm going to read the back. After Tova Sullivan's husband died, she began working the night cleaner shift at the Sowell Bay Aquarium. Keeping busy has helped her cope for over 30 years, ever since her son Eric mysteriously vanished on a boat. One night she meets Marcellus, a giant Pacific octopus living at the aquarium, who sees everything, but wouldn't dream of lifting one of his 8 arms for his human captors, until he forms a remarkable friendship with Tova. Ever the detective, Marcellus deduces what happened the night Tova's son disappeared, and now he must use every trick his old body can muster to unearth the truth for her before it's too late. Shelby Van Pelt's wry and warm novel is a reminder that sometimes taking a hard look at the past can help uncover a future that once felt impossible. So this sounds really interesting. It sounds like it's going to be emotional, uplifting, inspiring, and sometimes that's exactly what I'm after. Sometimes I'm looking for a book that has a more hopeful outlook on life rather than some of the darker, more intense stories that I read more commonly. But we shall see. This is a very good pick for June though, and I love the octopus on the cover. I love the colours. I think he looks really cute. The second book with an animal on the cover that I've picked, so I have a bit of variety, is totally different to the last one, and it's Bunny. Now, I've had this book on my shelf for a long time as well, and I can't believe that I've not read it yet. I've heard so many great things, and I read Mona Howard's 13 Ways of Looking at a Fat Girl, and that was an amazing book that I absolutely loved, so I don't know why I didn't pick this up sooner. I had them both on my shelf. I think 13 was the second book that she wrote, and this came out first. I don't know. This definitely came out before the other one anyway. But I'm really excited to read this. It's just one of those I've just not got round to, and I don't know why. So I'll read the back of this one. Samantha Heather McKay is an outsider in her small, highly selective MFA programme at Warren University. In fact, she's utterly repelled by the rest of her fiction writing cohort, a clique of unbearably twee rich girls who call each other Bunny. But then the bunnies issue her with an invitation, and Samantha finds herself inexplicably drawn to their front door, across the threshold and down their rabbit hole. Blending sharp satire with fairy tale horror, Bunny is a spellbinding trip of a novel from one of fiction's most original voices. Now, I've heard about this one. I think it's a bit like a sorority kind of deal, and I think they turn men into bunnies and then kill them. I think I've heard that, which is interesting and definitely one of the more darker stories, like I mentioned before. So yeah, it depends what mood I'm in. Will I be feeling hopeful, inspired and emotional, or quite dark and twisted and evil? We shall see. I'm going to pick a second prompt out. I'm going to do 3 in total, I think. Then I'm not overfaced, because I am part of a local book club and a online book club as well. So I think it's wise to... just dropped a prompt. I think it'll be wise to not overface myself. This is the prompt that fell on the floor, so I feel like that's a sign. Ooh, a romance. Am I in my romance era? Not currently right now, but that doesn't mean that I won't be when I come to reading it. Okay, so I've shopped my shelves and I've picked 2 romance books that are going to get added to the June TBR. The first one is The Man Who Didn't Call. So I got this one, I think it was summer 2023, and I took it on holiday with me. And I literally read, I think, the first 1 or 2 chapters and then didn't read it. So I took this on holiday and didn't really read it, so I need to give it a second chance. Why not now? So the back of this one says, imagine you meet a man, spend 7 glorious days together and fall in love, and it's mutual. You've never been so certain of anything. So when he leaves for a long booked holiday and promises to call you from the airport, you have no cause to doubt him, but he doesn't call. Your friends tell you to forget him, but you know they're wrong. Something must have happened. There must be a reason for his silence. What do you do when you finally discover you're right, that there is a reason, and that reason is the one thing you didn't share with each other, the truth? So I think this, it is a romance. Is it a romance? Let me just check that it actually is a romance. Yes, definitely a romance, so I'm assuming they get together in the end. I don't know. But yeah, this seems like more of an emotional one, maybe a bit slower, maybe, I'm not sure, but also a little bit of mystery, which I love. I know the prompt said romance. This is romance, but I like a romance that has other things going on as well, rather than just a classic romance. I do like them, but sometimes I struggle to pick one up. So hopefully this is a good choice for June. The second romance book I've picked, because obviously I can't just pick one, is Happenstance by Tessa Bailey. This is a funny sized book. Comparing it to the last one, it's quite large, so that's interesting. I've only just got this book really. I think I got it in March or April this year, so it's only been on my shelf for a couple of months, but it sounds really good, so let's read the back. Elsie Brandeis has never won a Pulitzer, and she never will, at least not while she's delivering sandwiches at the Gotham Times. Instead of working there as an actual reporter, her only shot at seeing her byline in print is to prove to the no-nonsense managing editor that she has a nose for news, and she's got just the story to grab her elusive attention. Right after she delivers this turkey on ciabatta. Chasing down leads brings Elsie to Roosevelt Island, but just when the trail of clues begins to take shape, she gets stuck, literally, on a cable car with 3 strangers who couldn't be more different. An uptight rugby coach, a construction worker, and a former adult film star she pretends not to recognise a little too well. At first, Elsie wants nothing more than to be rescued ASAP. An hour later, everything has changed. By pure happenstance, 4 separate journeys have collided in an intense, meaningful way. Suddenly, disentangling their lives feels more impossible than winning that Pulitzer. Good thing Elsie is too busy proving herself at work to consider 3 boyfriends. Nobody has time for that. even if they make giving in feel oh so right. But 3 heads are better than 1, and these loners will teach themselves to work together to win Elsie over forever, and more importantly, keep their dirty socks off her floor. This sounds really silly. This sounds like there's a good amount of comedy and lightheartedness in here. So again, this could be a really great break in between some of the darker and more emotional books that I might be reading. I think I might actually go with this one for romance, but we'll see. The other one is still there on the menu, ready for me to decide if that's the right one. But this sounds really interesting. I don't think I've ever read anything like this before. And my last prompt of the day, of the month, my last prompt of the month, ooh, not your book. So this means it's a book that someone else has lent me and I've not read it and I need to read it. So let me go and shop my shelves. I've shopped my shelves and I've picked 3 books that are not mine. I know I've picked 3, not 2, but that's just because I think there's actually only 3 on there. So it just makes sense to show them all to you and then I can just read whichever one or ones to tickle my fancy when I get to it. So the first one is The 5. So this is a book about the women that were killed by Jack the Ripper. This book belongs to my mum. She lent it to me and she has been checking on me. Have you read it yet? Have you read it yet? And the answer's no. And I've had it for over a year now and I need to get a move on and give it back to her. So I'm hoping that I will get round to reading this. This is going to be a dark and an emotional one and I need to make sure I'm in the right headspace for this because this is not fiction. There's a big difference in reading a dark, gruesome, scary, emotional, sad fiction book and reading something that actually happened to these people. But this is the stories of the women, so I feel like it's going to be more on the emotional grief, kind of upset for what could have been side, rather than actually hearing the horrors of what happened. But I've not read it, so that's just my assumption. The back says, Polly, Annie, Elizabeth, Catherine and Mary Jane are famous for the same thing, though they never met. They came from Fleet Street, Knightsbridge, Wolverhampton, Sweden and Wales. They wrote ballads, ran coffee houses, lived on country estates. They breathed ink dust from printing presses and escaped people traffickers. What they had in common was the year of their murders, 1888. Their murderer was never identified, but the name created for him by the press has become more famous than any of these women. In this devastating narrative of 5 lives, historian Hallie Rubenhold finally gives these women back their stories. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I think that it's really important when horrible crimes happen with these true crime cases. We talk about the victim stories and we keep the victims alive rather than the serial killer, the murderer, the criminal, because they want to be prolific. They want people to talk about them forever. It's the poor victims that get forgotten about in a lot of these stories, and it's so important to take that power back from the criminal and give it to the victims by talking about their stories and keeping their stories alive. So I think this is a really amazing book and I'm so looking forward to reading it. The next book that isn't mine is much more light-hearted than that one, I think. I can't believe I've not read it, and I've also never watched the film, so I don't really know much about the story at all. And it's Me Before You. So this book belongs to my nana, and Jojo Moyes is one of her favourite fiction authors ever. She's read all of her books, and I've actually got all 3 in the series on my shelf that belong to her. She was like, I want them back, make sure you give me them back. So I definitely will. But I've had them for about 6 months now and I've still not read them, and every time I see them I feel a little bit more guilty, so this is also not my book and I need to get a wriggle on and read it, but there are 2 more that I would need to read before I return them as well. So the back of this one says, Lou Clark knows lots of things. She knows how many footsteps there are between the bus stop and home. She knows she likes working in the Buttered Bun tea shop, and she knows she might not love her boyfriend, Patrick. What Lou doesn't know is she's about to lose her job, or that knowing what's coming is what keeps her safe. Will Traynor knows his motorcycle accident took away his desire to live. He knows everything feels very small and rather joyless now, and he knows exactly how he's going to put a stop to that. What Will doesn't know is that Lou is about to burst into his world in a riot of colour, and neither of them knows they're going to change the other for all time. Okay, so it sounds like there's some heavier themes in here. It's a very popular book. I think a lot of people love, you know, a emotional story, you know. Although this sounds like it's going to be really emotional and possibly very sad, one of the little reviews at the front here says heartbreaking yet ultimately uplifting. So I think that's nice when there's like a little positive story or something to take away from it, even though it's quite a sad story. So this sounds like a beautiful story and I can't wait to read it. The third book that I picked that's not my book is The Girl on the Train, another completely extremely popular book that I can't believe I've not read. I've also not watched the film. This book belongs to my sister and it's one of her favourite books of all time. She swears by this book. She hates the film. This is one of the best books she's ever read and she wants me to read it too, and I've just not got round to it. So the back of this one, if you're not aware, I mean, so many people have read this, I'm a bit behind. Every day is the same until today. Rachel catches the same commuter train every morning. She knows it will wait at the same signal each time, overlooking a row of back gardens. She's even started to feel like she knows the people who live in one of the houses. Their life, as she sees it, is perfect. If only Rachel could be that happy. And then she sees something shocking, and in one moment everything changes. Now Rachel has a chance to become part of the lives she's only watched from afar. Now they'll see she's much more than just a girl on the train. So that sounds really exciting. I think this is more of a literary thriller, so it reads like a thriller, but it doesn't take the tropes of a classic thriller book. So I'm quite excited, I'm intrigued. It doesn't really give much away of what actually happens in the book, so that's quite exciting. And because I've never watched the film or anything, I have no idea what she sees on this train. So that sounds really good. I want to read all of these. Okay, so this is the stack of books that I've got picked for June. And then also the rest of Assistant to the Villain. So it's quite a lot. But like I said, I'm only aiming to finish Assistant to the Villain and then read 3 of these others. That's the goal. It's just I can't stick to a strict TBR because I'll just do the opposite. If I'm like, right, you have to read Happenstance, I'm like, well, I'm in the mood for murder. And then if it's like, you have to read the book about the 5, then I'll be like, I don't want to read something so sad, I want to read something funny. So I'm just hard work. So I've done this to make life easier for myself and have multiple options that I can pick from. But they've all come from the TBR jar. So that's it from me for today. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. It means so much to me. I'm still growing. I want to expand and I want to make more videos, and I'm just really excited to keep going and see where it takes me. It has been a couple of weeks since I posted a video, and that's because I haven't been very well recently, just with hay fever. My eyes had like gone so dry, it was almost like eye eczema. They were just burning, like the inside and the outside, so sore. I had big like red rings around my eyes, so I couldn't even stand looking at myself on camera. I'm not someone who wears loads of makeup, and I couldn't really put makeup on that anyway because the skin was so sore, and I couldn't even stand looking at myself, so I just avoided filming anything altogether. But I do have another couple of video ideas coming up. One video is currently in the works, nearly finished, that'll be with you soon. And I have another video which I haven't filmed yet, but it's going to be a little bit of a discussion about me and what Lucy's Library and Pre-Love Pages is, and a little bit of a small business tour. So I'm really excited to do that because that's sharing a little piece of me with all of you guys. So thank you again for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and want to see more from me, please drop a like on the video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. It means so much because I'm so new and I just want to grow, and I need people like you who love what I do to engage with me so that YouTube knows to share it with other people who might enjoy it too. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye!